What's searchable for another reaction to today's video app when rugby players completely snapped by rugby throwback, which are counter shot. Let's get to it. Gang, the PSG and Bayern Munich game on, bro. I watched the first half. I don't want to watch anymore. I am scared. I'm a PSG fan. I am fucking scared. Let's get into this, bro. I don't even want to check the score right now.
That'll make you shit yourself.
Yeah, watch the video on this now.
To a three-punch combo that stunned the league, and a shot so brutal.
Yeah, we watched the when rugby players get mad video. We barely seen any punches. That's the shit I want to see.
To a three-punch combo that stunned the league.
Damn. Stripe shirt, you don't got no power, my nigga. That nigga ate all three of them shots. And you stunned them with that last one, but that nigga ate them first two.
A shot so
brutal. Need some power. You big. Rugby players big as hell. Niggas got no power.
Brutal. It triggered a police investigation. This is what happens when rugby players completely snap.
They want to smash you, you want to smash them. Right, you want to take us on, let's have a crack.
And once you see what happens in rugby league, you'll be shocked. We start with a walking, talking, and tackling mountain.
Oh yeah, we got some video on that nigga. Hold on, I'm about to go get a water.
Sabeth. In the 2023 Rugby Championship clash between the Springboks and Australia, the tension was already at boiling point. But when Wallabies winger Marika Koroibete put a massive, borderline hit on Makazole Mapimpi, Sabeth's internal borderline. But when Wallabies winger Marika Koroibete Australia, the tension was already at boiling point. But when Wallabies winger Marika Koroibete put a massive, borderline hit on Makazole Mapimpi, Sabeth's internal switch simply flipped. He didn't just step in to break it up. He
started spazzing.
Ignited. He grabbed Wallabies prop.
Look, this nigga face, bro.
Alan Alatoa by the collar and completely lost it, turning a standard scuffle into a one-man demolition derby. The visual of Sabeth ragdolling a 125-kilogram international prop is terrifying. It wasn't a calculated tactical scrap, it was pure, unadulterated rage. The referee struggled to regain control as Eben seemed ready to take on the entire Australian pack single-handedly. It was a moment of primal aggression that stunned the Wallabies. But that was just one man. What happens when an entire team just kicks off? The 1974 British and Irish Lions tour of South Africa was violent. Frustrated by local referees ignoring foul play against his men, Lions captain Willie John McBride instituted the notorious 99 call.
And again...
Well, they getting on. They getting it on. Oh, yeah.
These unpleasant scenes breaking out. Both sides piling in.
Ooh, squabble.
The logic was simple, but deeply flawed. If a Bok touched the line, they'd yell 99. Everyone dropped what they were doing and just smashed the closest South African. The idea was that the referee couldn't simply send off the entire team.
What the fuck?
This
See, the niggas back then, there was more men. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was really, these niggas really squabbling. What the fuck?
Madness, Pete.
These was really men. Like, niggas ain't going for no disrespect. They wasn't going for no disrespect back then. Like,
during the infamous Battle of Boet Erasmus. When the call went up, the pitch instantly dissolved into a mass brawl. It was premeditated, orchestrated violence masquerading as solidarity. Players abandoned the ball, abandoned the game, and fully committed to a fistfight, proving that sometimes violence is a strategy. But sometimes it's not about the punches, it's about intimidation. It's 1997, and we have a moment where a player snapped even before the referee blew his whistle. The hacker is meant to be faced with respectful, silent defiance.
Why do they do that shit? No. What tradition, culture, you know what I'm saying?
But England's Richard Cockerill didn't get that memo. Facing Norm Hewitt, Cockerill's adrenaline spiked past the point of no return.
Just thought, I'm going to find Norm, I'm going to stand opposite him and, you know, come on mate, let's have a go.
He broke ranks, marching aggressively forward until his chin was practically resting on Hewitt's chest. The two hookers ended up screaming directly into each other's faces, a hair's breadth from a full-blown fist fight, while the traditional war dance was simply happening around them. Cockerill's eyes were completely wild. He had mentally left the realm of a structured test match and entered a street fight.
Hoping for a bit of advice, and he went, "What the hell have you done?" And I sort of, don't know really, because it just sort of happened.
England captain Martin Johnson eventually had to physically drag him away. It was one of the craziest moments in the hacker, even a little physical contact, but not as much as the original Bok enforcer next. Bakkies Botha built a career playing on the razor's edge of the law, but in 2010 against New Zealand in Auckland, he completely fell off it. The game was tight, the rucks were messy, and All Black scrum half Jimmy Cowan was being his usual disruptive self, pulling Botha by the jersey.
And Cowan, it's charged by Botha.
Yeah, the all New Zealand versus South Africa, this a real rugby, and I mean this a real rivalry in rugby. This like fucking, I don't know, fucking, yeah, this like Real Madrid versus Barcelona, fucking Argentina versus Brazil, like.
Cowan holds him back too, and gets back and.
Instead of clearing the rock or simply shoving Cowan away, Botha suffered a total brain fade. He dropped his chin and drove the top of his skull directly into the back of Cowan's head.
Well, he was held back. It was back.
Yeah, what the fuck?
He's bolted.
Man, you dirty, bro. What that squabble?
It was a cowardly, unprovoked headbutt that had absolutely nothing to do with playing rugby. Botha didn't even try to disguise it. The sheer stupidity of the act in the modern era of high-definition cameras and sighting commissioners highlighted a total collapse of impulse control. Botha was handed a 9-week ban, a heavy price for a fraction of a second, where anger entirely bypassed his brain's logical functioning. That was pure stupidity, if I say so myself, but this next one looks like an NFL block. Next, we have Thomas Lavanini, a player whose disciplinary record reads like a rap sheet. The 2019 World Cup pool match between Argentina and England was a must-win for the Pumas. They needed cool heads. Instead, just 17 minutes into the game, Lavanini completely snapped.
Forced to take an early shower.
Bro, this nigga, bro, I know that shit hurt no pads, bro. Oh my gosh.
As England's Owen Farrell caught the ball, Lavanini launched himself like a missile. He didn't dip, he didn't attempt to wrap his arms, he just drove his shoulder squarely into Farrell's jaw with sickening force. It wasn't a timing error, it was a blatant refusal to engage in a legal tackle. In a game where margins are razor thin, Lavanini let his physical aggression entirely override his tactical responsibilities. The referee had no choice but to show a straight red card.
You were always high, you were leading with the shoulder, and you make contact with the head of number 10, who was not down enough to the height for me to give you anything but the red card. Shoulder to the head, the height degree of danger. Okay?
Lavanini walked off the pitch knowing his momentary loss of control had effectively ended his country's World Cup campaign. But it's not always the shoulder. Sometimes it's the boot that becomes a weapon. It's a tense Heineken Cup clash between Bath and Ulster. Danny Grucock is trying to clear a ruck, but Ulster flanker, Stephen Ferris, has a hold of his ankle on the ground. It's annoying. It's a penalty, and it happens 100 times a game. You're supposed to wait for the ref to blow the whistle. Grucock doesn't wait. Instead, he looks down, raises his boot, and deliberately stamps straight down on Ferris's exposed arm. It's a calculated reaction that has nothing to do with clearing out a ruck and everything to do with inflicting pain. The referee catches it and out comes the straight red card after just 32 minutes.
Chance of getting these 4 tries now. They got the rest of the game with a man advantage.
The citing commissioner threw the book at him, handing down a 7-week ban, fueled by an already massive disciplinary rap sheet. It was a completely unnecessary, malicious, cheap shot from a guy who simply couldn't keep a lid on his aggression. But sometimes it's actually a fair fight. If you ever want to see what happens when 2 heavyweights clash, this one's for you.
That nigga little as fuck.
In 2008, Munster's Paul O'Connell and Clermont's Jamie Cudmore were 2 of the most feared men in European rugby. During a heated match, a standard scuffle at a ruck rapidly deteriorated. Cudmore, never one to back down, started throwing heavy, bare-knuckle rights.
Cudmore and O'Connell.
O'Connell completely lost his composure and fired right back.
Cudmore can be feisty.
For a few shocking seconds, the 2 massive locks went toe-to-toe, trading brutal blows as if they were in the ring, completely ignoring the referee, the crowd, and the fact that a rugby match was going on around them. It was an unhinged display of raw power and temper. Cudmore saw red, and Paul only copped a yellow. What makes this snap so memorable is the sheer scale of the violence.
That boy missed. Ooh.
It wasn't a cheap shot. It was 2 giants mutually agreeing to abandon the sport and settle things with their fists. And in 2009, a year later, Schalkberger destroyed a legend's career. Just moments into the second test of the 2009 British and Irish Lions tour, Springbok flanker Schalkberger found himself tangled with Irish winger Luke Fitzgerald. As they wrestled on the ground, Berger's hand went directly to Fitzgerald's face.
Ooh.
Berger just lost control and raked his fingers across Fitzgerald's.
Gang, you did that. Gang, I would have beat that nigga. Gang, you could have gouged, scratched that nigga retina, could have gouged his eye. Like, what you doing?
Eyes. Eye gouging has to be the most universal.
Yeah, bro, you would have to see me, gang, after the game. See me outside in the parking lot, for real. You would have to see me, bro.
Condemned act in rugby. I mean, it takes a specific kind of darkness to target another man's vision. The referee only gave a yellow card on the pitch, but the citing commissioner rightly stepped in and banned Berger for 8 weeks. Making matters worse, his coach at the time, Peter de Villiers, bizarrely tried to defend the action in the press conference, claiming rugby is a contact sport.
Yeah, you South African, cause you look like an Indian. I eat chickpeas with the chicken curry. You look like an Indian, bro.
So, if everything is clear-cut in the environment that we are also in,
Nah, he Indian. Listen to his voice. I'm listening to his voice. He sound Indian. We should try. What he said? We should try it. That's an Indian.
It remains a dark stain on an otherwise legendary career. A chilling reminder of what happens when the competitive drive turns malicious. It wasn't a heat-of-the-moment tackle. It was a slow, deliberate act of foul play. But sometimes it's the words spoken that show a player has snapped. It's the 2013 Premiership Grand Final. Northampton Saints hooker Dylan Hartley has a history of poor discipline, but this was a catastrophic lack of judgment. Frustrated with the officiating, Hartley completely lost his filter.
Listen to me, please. Sure. Just listen to me. If you talk to me like that, and I think it's to me, I will have to deal with it. Do you understand?
In front of 80,000 fans and millions watching at home, he looked directly at referee Wayne Barnes and called him a cheat. You can't make
A what? A egg it? That sounds to me. What? A what?
this stuff up. I mean, rugby isn't your traditional gentleman's game, but this is just treacherous. Barnes didn't hesitate, immediately pulling out the red card. The long walk off the pitch was humiliating. Harley's inability to keep his mouth shut cost his team the championship final. But the fallout was worse. The resulting suspension cost him his place on the 2013 British and Irish Lions tour. It was a life-changing consequence for his inability to control his tongue. But our next moment feels like a planned boxing match. The year is 1999. Ireland is hosting the eventual World Cup winning Wallabies at Lansdowne Road. The tension is incredibly high, and at a messy line-out, the spark finally catches. Brennan gets tangled up with legendary Australian number 8, Totai Kefu, and both men instantly choose violence. This wasn't your
good uppercut.
standard
That boy ought to fight in that clinch. That boy.
Rugby pushing match with a few wild swings. This was a hockey fight on a grass pitch. They grabbed each other's jerseys with one hand to anchor themselves and just started launching absolute haymakers with the other. Uppercuts, straight rights, heavy hooks. These men traded blows for what felt like an eternity while the rest of the pack swarmed around them. I still wonder who came out as the true alpha. And this wasn't even the worst punch-up ever. But before I show you that, let's look at something truly disgusting. In 1994, the Springboks were playing the All Blacks. South African prop Johan Leroux was pinned at the bottom of a rug, engaged in a dark, messy struggle with New Zealand captain Sean Fitzpatrick.
South Africa versus New Zealand. Fitzpatrick, the All Black captain, complaining of a bit nearer.
Unable to use his hands, Ollie snapped. He leaned forward and clamped his teeth firmly onto Fitzpatrick's ear.
This nigga did a Mike Tyson. He ain't bite shit off, right?
It was a savage, animalistic reaction.
The place to look at is the left-hand side of this picture. Look at Johan Leroux. That is a disgrace.
When the dust settled, Leroux was handed a massive 19-month ban, a punishment fitting the crime. But what elevates this moment into infamy is Leroux's reaction afterward. Instead of showing remorse, his psychological snap continued into the press conference. When asked about the length of the ban, he coldly stated, "For an 18-month suspension, I feel I probably should have torn it off." It was a chilling lack of regret that proved the red mist hadn't lifted even days after the final whistle had blown. But what differentiates some of these men is the punch-ups that shock you. You know Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali. But in 2011, Manu Tuolangi put them all to shame.
Normally enough, but two of them.
He started throwing them bitches.
Goodness gracious, flood again. Foden again. That's been given as a high tackle. Don't think there's anything malicious in it. Northampton on hanging around. Castro Giovanni.
After a minor push from Ashton, Tuolangi's fuse completely burned out. He didn't just react, he executed a terrifying display of violence.
By Tuolangi, Ashton gives him a little shove. Tuolangi gets up, throws a left. Ashton, Ashton.
Yeah, that's what you showed in the beginning.
Should not be yellow carded.
Tuolangi turned, tracked Ashton, grabbed him by the collar to hold him in place, and unleashed a lightning-fast three-punch bare-knuckle combination. The speed and ferocity were terrifying.
He ate that shit though, I ain't gonna lie.
Reminiscent of a professional boxer. The final strike caught Ashton flush, leaving him staggering and bleeding heavily on the grass. It wasn't a scrappy rugby fight, it was a clinical assault. The sheer velocity with which Tuolangi bypassed any rational thought and resorted to extreme violence makes this one of the most shocking visuals in Premiership history. It was an instant, violent short circuit of the brain. But if you think rugby union is bad, wait till you see the men from rugby league. We cross over into Rugby League for a moment so shocking it triggered a police investigation. It's 2014, Super League Grand Final, the biggest game of the year. Less than 2 minutes after kickoff, Wigan's Ben Flowers gets tangled with St Helens' Lance Hohaya. Hohaya throws a forearm and Flowers snaps. He turns and punches Hohaya, dropping him instantly to the turf.
Damn.
That punch alone would have been a straight red card, but it's what happens next that shocked the sporting world. With Hohaya lying completely motionless and unconscious on his back, Flowers stepped forward, wound up his arm, and drove a second, full-force punch directly into the face of the defenseless
Dude, these niggas be tweaking.
man. It was a horrific, cowardly act of pure malice. The red mist didn't just make him blind, it stripped him of his basic humanity for a few terrifying seconds. Flower was handed
Wait, it made him blind.
a 6-month ban, and the footage remains incredibly difficult to watch to this day. But finally, we have a moment so bad, it's hard to even fathom. The year is 2001. The British and Irish Lions are playing the New South Wales Waratahs. Duncan McRae drags Irish fly half Ronan O'Gara to the ground. What follows is the most sustained, unhinged loss of temper in the modern era. While O'Gara is trapped on his back, completely defenseless and trying to protect his face, McRae snaps completely. He sits on O'Gara's chest and begins to punch him. Not once, not twice. McRae rains down 11 furious punches directly into O'Gara's face in rapid succession. The sheer duration of the assault is what makes it so disturbing. The referee and other players had to physically drag a manic McRae away from the blood-stained Irishman. O'Gara required 8 stitches below his eyes.
Yeah, niggas be doing this, son, because ain't no helmets.
And McRae received a 7-week ban. It wasn't a fight. It was an unprovoked, unilateral beatdown that crossed every conceivable line of sportsmanship, decency, and basic human control. It is the definitive moment a rugby player completely snapped. Rugby might be a beautiful game, but sometimes players just take it a little too far. And this isn't even the worst of it. If you want to see more, check out the most violent Six Nations games of all time next. Make sure you like,
Racial account subscribe, and I'm out. Deuces. Yeah. These niggas get wild, bro.